Hello, good morning, and I am Arsenio from US Post. If you are new to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and support us. We are here with two important updates today. The number one is activist judge is abusing his position and blocking Trump deportation flights, GOP lawmaker. And the second one is on President Trump rooting for the guy. Let's dive into the news.
Judge James Boasberg, extending his hold on deportations under the Alien Enemies Act for at least another 2 weeks. President Trump using that law to send suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. Now, House Republicans looking to rein in the power of federal judges with a hearing set for next week. Let's bring in House Judiciary Committee member Darrell Issa of California, who's also on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thank you very much for being here. This news this afternoon that we just saw a judge in Massachusetts also take an action against what the administration is trying to do with respect to these deportations. Obviously, you've got the Supreme Court taking up the Alien Enemies case. You as a member of Judiciary, how do you think that this is going to play out at the Supreme Court level?
Well, I welcome the High Court quickly taking this case up. You know, when you have a law that's been on the books for more than 200 years and it stood the test of time, the court needs to recognize that any interference with the commander-in-chief's authority really does limit the executive branch in an unfair way. Having said that, obviously you've got an activist judge, one of many, who is abusing the term district in his title of district court judge. And that's what we're going to rein in. The hearing on Tuesday is going to highlight these abuses, but more importantly, it's going to do what it needs to do, which is to find that no matter who's in the White House, no matter which party, we need to make sure that district judges do district work. And if you want a national injunction, there's a procedure to get to it, and it's not to pick somebody, one of 670 judges that'll rule the way you want and then slap the president daily outside of his or her jurisdiction.
What options does Congress have to rein in these nationwide injunctions? I mean, what would that legislation potentially look like?
Well, it looked like the one that we put out, although, there are still areas in which we're allowing for national injunctions. A good example is under the last administration when more than 16 attorneys general came as one class and made an appeal for a national injunction. It was reasonable to grant it based on so many divergent states and then let the High Court decide. But when you have what's clearly not the jurisdiction of the judge, the judge didn't even know who was on the airplane, and yet he felt that he could act quickly. So we are going to rein it in. But here's the important point for all your viewers to understand. The Supreme Court is a constitutional court, just as the president and Congress is. All these other courts are created by Congress and written into statute as to what they're to do. And it's not an accident that we called them district court judges. Their jurisdiction is against a plaintiff who has nexus in that district and over that district. And that first part is important because some of these judges don't even have a plaintiff who can demonstrate that they have any relationship to the district in which it's being filed. So it's a flagrant violation of what the statute was that created their office.
It'll be interesting to watch that play out. One more, though, getting back to the issue of the Alien Enemies Act. I was interested to see how the appellate court ruled on this. Obviously, the administration lost on that 2-1, but the Trump appointee dissented. And I wonder if, with the court, the High Court being the makeup that it is, with the justices that the president has put on that court, if maybe, he stands a better chance for a favorable interpretation for what they're looking for. But separate from that, do you at all compare this to how Congress had to sort of come up with rules for the authorization of use of military force, for instance, AUMF?
Well, it is very similar that if we're not going to declare war and yet we're going to have the president have an extended use of authority, such as we did after World War II against the spread of communism, we did so using a procedure that did not drag us into a wider conflict. In this case, we're doing the same thing. We're defining it so that it can be used when appropriate and not when it isn't. But back to that 2-1 ruling, You know, I remember the late Antonin Scalia, and the most brilliant things I ever saw in my life were his motions in defense when he was in the minority saying what was wrong. And many of the cases that he failed on earlier on have since been reversed based on his writings. So when somebody is dissenting, I think that's what you should read, and that's what the High Court's going to read.
MLB season kicking off with a slew of games, including my Texas Rangers. And my next guest has 8 opening day starts in his 24-year career. I would say among his accomplishments, that's probably one of the least. He's the most dominant pitcher, perhaps, ever. And his name is Roger Clemens. And here he is right now. By the way, Roger, we're watching it on our screen right now. This is you at home plate meeting your son there to exchange lineup cards. He with the Phillies, you as an instructor with the Yankees. That's a cool moment, Roger. It had to be really special.
Well, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was, I think it's the first time it's ever happened. At least a couple of the umpires thought it was history. I'm glad I didn't park in any of the umpires' parking spots before the game, so they took it easy on the kid there. But that was a fun moment.
Yeah.
The Yankees and Phillies got together and planned it. That was fun.
Yeah, I mean, father, son. I mean, that's what it's. I don't know. That's kind of what it's all about. Let's talk about the season, Roger. What do you think? I mean, the easy pick, and I'm not saying if you go this way that you're taking the layup, but it's the Dodgers again, and maybe we're on the verge of another dynasty, the first since the Yankees in the late '90s.
You're right, brother. But first, let me just tell you that during the commercial break, I had to go into my phone and start getting rid of all these emojis, I guess. So you guys made me nervous. So I'm going to have to wait. But
is the Rocket an emoji user? Be honest. If I text you, am I getting emojis back?
Well, you're going to get a check mark, so I don't have to give you a long answer. And you might get, like you said, the hook 'em horns. You know, they do have hook 'em horns on there. So you
I'll
might
take
get
that from you
one.
any day.
No, you're right. The Dodgers are still the team right now. They're loaded. The Phillies, which my youngest one is with, we talked about, and the Yankees, they're built to win now, and they really need to try and win now. Is what is the mode. But you know, like they said, spring is a lot of hope for all the teams right now. And but I'm glad the season's underway. It's an exciting time of year. I'm going to bounce into Philly and watch opening day there. Those guys, you're Ranger guys. You're a Ranger, Texas Ranger guy, which I like watching those guys too here in our home state. DeGrom's back, so and I like Evaldi. So pitching's like I always said, Will. Pitching is like buying a house or property. Location, location, location. While all these guys are chasing velocity so much, they're always trying to get the radar gun to reach triple digits. It's still about being a power pitcher and locating.
All right, Roger, I've got like a minute and a half, 90 seconds with you here, and I'm going to ask you one controversial question. I'm going to put you. So I thought about asking about Mookie Betts and visiting President Trump at the White House. No. What I've learned is you're a big JFK buff, big history guy, big JFK assassination buff. Have you made your way through the 80,000 released documents? Do you have your theory?
I haven't, and I have plenty of theories, but I haven't. But I'm looking forward to doing that. My wife and mom were up the road a little bit when all that went down. She was obviously a young baby at the time, but I was fortunate, Will, to play in 2 of the most historic cities, ballparks, with Fenway Park and Old Yankee Stadium. And in Boston, Deb and Caroline have become friends, so I was able to meet a few of the Kennedys. We know the Bushes here. Your topic on the White House, it's an honor to go to the White House. It doesn't matter who the president is. I mean, there's some presidents that I didn't vote for, became our president, but I rooted for our president to do well, no matter what, once he's in there. And the same thing goes with President Trump. I mean, it still amazes me that, 7 months ago, he almost got shot on national TV. They let a guy into the rally, Will, as you know. I know I'm rehashing things, but it's still amazing to me. They let a guy into a rally with a rangefinder, of all things. It's bizarre. Right. I mean, come on now. I mean, I'm pretty sure with President Trump in the White House, you're not going to see a spy balloon fly across the country. Man, it's crazy.
I gave him,
again, just root for the guy.
I gave him 90 seconds and said, I'm only going to ask you one controversial question. He hit 4 controversial topics in that time, from a spy balloon, an assassination attempt, visiting the White House, and the JFK assassination. That is impressive work. Look at it right there. He still throws heat. Roger Clemens, you're welcome. By the way, I'm a few steps from Dealey Plaza. We can take a walk through history together or see each other in Austin for
Let's do it.
Longhorn baseball game.
I would love that.
All right, thank you, Roger.
I would love that.